Hello everyone, let's make puff pastry cinnamon apple parcels. So the best ingredients you've been needing is brown sugar, obviously puff pastry, cinnamon, and orange flavoring. Then the next thing you'll be needing is a bit of water, some all-purpose flour, and then apples. Obviously it's apples related, so you need some apples, sweet apples. Then this is salt, butter. That's what I was going to say. So that is, I used unsalted butter. And what I'm doing now, the next thing to do is cut the apples into quarters and obviously remove the middle bits where, the pith and the black bit, just take that off. And that's what I did off camera. So now I'm just going to be slicing it into small pieces because that's what we are going to be using for this dessert that I made for Valentine's Day. So as you can see, I cut it into small pieces and put it in the bowl, and then I'm just going to continue doing it, which you can see in the bowl. I've finished doing it. So the next bit of apple I saved, I'm just going to be cutting them in thin slices, so which is what I'm going to use to decorate the top of the puff pastry parcels, as you will be seeing later on. So it's done. The apples, I sliced them both different ways. So obviously we know that apple turns brown if you don't put a bit of lemon juice, so which is what I've done. So I'm mixing a bit of lemon juice in it. Don't put too much lemon juice, just a little bit, so the apple doesn't turn brown. I don't know what it is about apple, apple and turning brown. It just turns brown quickly. I don't know, maybe it's because of oxidation. So the next thing, as you can see, while it's brown, I added some cinnamon and brown sugar, which I showed you earlier. So everything is mixed in. So what I have now is my pan on the fire, to which I added some butter, just a little bit, not too much. Then I'm just, making sure it's hot. Then I'm adding the apple that I sliced into bits, which I coated with cinnamon and brown sugar to, because what we're looking for is for it to caramelize and be thick. So I'm adding a bit of water because we don't want it to be dry. So we want some liquid as well. So that's what I'm doing. So I already added the water to the apple that is caramelizing in the pan. So the white thing that you can see, I just made a slurry. I just added the flour that I showed you earlier with some water and added it to the apple mixture. So that's what I'm doing, just turning. You want to cook it till the you don't taste the rawness of the flour. And then I'm adding a bit more water, because we all know that when you add things like slurry, corn flour to anything, it becomes too thick. So I'm adding water to loosen it up a bit so it's not too thick. And that's what I'm doing, guys. So we're just going to leave that to cook a bit. And as you can see, after 2 minutes, I'm going to be adding the orange essence. Feel free to leave this out if you don't want to, but I just feel it just enhances the apple and cinnamon and brown sugar. It just gives it a bit of taste, but a lovely taste. But if you don't like orange essence, you can add any other kind, or you can just leave it out. So this is me now. The apple mixture is it's cooled down a bit. It's not as hot as it was. So now next to the next step, which is bringing out our puff pastry from the pack. What I like using puff pastry to make desserts, or anything, because you can use it to make sweet things or savory things. Is because it's very versatile. It's very hard to make puff pastry. If you have the patience, by all means, you can try. But sometimes, if you want something quick and you want to do a puff pastry recipe, you can just buy a good quality one from the shop. But you just make sure that it's a very good quality one. So as you can see, I've rolled out the puff pastry. I like to buy the one that is already rolled out, not the one that you have to roll yourself. So they've basically made it easy for you. So what I'm doing, I'm just trying to, as much as I can, to cut it into 4 parts. Obviously, it's not gonna be perfect because you're doing it in your house and it's rustic, and it just you just have to try and make it as equal as you can. Yeah, okay. So that's what I've done. So I cut it into 4 parts. I'm not going to say equal because maybe it's not very equal, but I mean as equal as it can be. And then I'm cutting a line across as well. So I'm now have 4 different 4 pieces of the puff pastry. As you can see, because I'm trying to be perfect, I use the knife to make sure it's it's as equal as it can be. The thing with pastry or dough is quite forgiving, so you can just knead it out if it's not perfect. So that's me. I put 5 in one pan that I lined with parchment paper, and then the remaining one I'm gonna put on this pan lined with foil, which as you can see, I'm spreading a bit of oil, just a tiny bit, so it doesn't stick, and then sprinkling flour as well, because I don't want the bottom of the pastry to be oily at all. So I'm putting some flour to absorb the oil. So next thing I'm doing is arranging the cut puff pastry into the pan, as you can see me doing. So I'm just trying to make sure it fits as much as possible. Yeah, there's room for one more, so I'm putting the last one in. And you can design your puff pastry any way you want. This is just what I chose to do. This is how I chose to design it. But what I like about puff pastry is you can just be adventurous with it. You can make any kind of design with it. Just let your imagination run wild. It's your kitchen, you're the one in charge. So that's what I have so far. What I just did, just a simple design. I just used my hands to bring up the sides, and now I am putting in the apple cinnamon mixture that I made. So putting them inside each of it, and that's it, guys. Very, very simple, very simple. So for this sliced apple, I just basically sprinkled a bit of brown sugar, not the dark brown, just the light brown sugar on the apple, so it's a bit caramelized. So guys, I actually baked it for 20 to 25 minutes. The oven temperature was 180 degrees centigrade, guys. But you just have to keep checking depending on the kind of oven you have. And that's it, guys. It's out of the oven. It looks delicious. It looks so tempting. So what I'm just doing is sprinkling some icing sugar on top of it, just to lift it up a bit and give it a lovely look and taste. I'm not really one for piping or putting cream icing or things like that. I'm not one of those kind of ones. But by all means, if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to do some piping, by all means you can do that. But I just think, to me, icing sugar is enough. And it looks amazing, guys, and it tasted amazing. So guys, thanks for watching.